Yeah.
Start to
Sing the song with your daddy. Look at the fireworks in the sky. It's an explosion from your atmosphere. You're weirder than your mistakes have come at last. These are the points and moments that don't last. My baby loves to sing. See the beautiful and diamond rings. You're gonna bring her no matter what you try to do. Although there's that define you within the word. When a place and position you can find the truth, and playing the cards on the wooden floors. I love you more is not a question you should ever have to ask. I'll give it to you for the moment that you can last, and you can have that all you can grab. A hold of a hug. You're my little love bug. In a place for stars will shine, and space and time will come together within the rhyme, and the rhythm will find complete within the group circle. Or whatever the type of magnetic field, source, place, or energy. What frequency can you glean? Frequently your eye can sing the song without words, making it up like I want to make up with kiss and song with lips and bongs and hongs, and find a place that you can hang around. Places where you could play like you were on the playground. For I am grounded and contained, for the rain won't stop me. I have an umbrella, or as long as you can sniff, we will know that we're breathing life into your breath. And this is the transformation of you and I together within matter, and everything is placed within divine love. You are the prince, me be the king and your father. I also have one. He does not my grandfather clock, and he is the place where you come from. Place and position you can find that astronomy within your understanding and your calendars. These clocks, these will watch, these will be minutes. We will stand by. This is not a maybe opposition, no one to snooze, one alarm, or this is not the fantasies of your disarmament of bearing, staring, saying the same things over and over again. That is such a poet, he's getting old and know it.
and you will start to find yourself lost within the memory. Only you in that song. You will be sleeping like you're aspiring from the knocking on the sleeping door, for the sound of a rope streaking the side of a boat. Your heart heard underwater for the boats putting up beside each other with it beneath your surface and rub against each other while capsized itself, silencing you with a lost canoe. Navigating by the me and on the star map at night for the feeling of the echoes, and it don't matter for the painting over mirrors and don't matter. You find your way to me by the faint starlight. Stamp, you feel the fleeting and now for the zero. We in praying in the wind of spinning the haywire compass and due toward which direction we will have nothing but the grace. Falling upon heaven mercy, you can have no marble hill. I'll be a song. You could be your melody or memory. You could be the paradise lie beneath the feet of your mother in the verse. I've heard for the red side, even so frequently you cannot know the scripture before you can find the meaning of the traditions in the prophet, or always be accompanied by the careful oral lineage and who said to who to whom, who to hear here to say what, to unusually back to one of the prophets wise. Maybe it was a her that heard to say that for the veil was what you want to see, you cannot. What you wish to happen now didn't have ears to hear, to really moving slowly, you did not even know who they are. It's the paradise that lies beneath the feet of the who will find the way inside unless it admits. Maybe the looking of the face in each body, moving around for the sound for the platform, down with the change of the rounding under trains and off them. Maybe for the burning up for the fuel for the soul, or the giving a birth or walking around the city, imagining everything listening, and maybe the bounded by the imminent. Or maybe the writing of the body for the car, for the soul, for the driving, and actually flesh, who then separable when only finding death and truly dispersed in the smoke. Maybe the body of maybe the white between us, maybe the who said it, but it was in the case of the something who grieving yet. The the death of the soul, for the wind, for the immortal, for the grieving of the age made with the seat, for the font, for the main, for the train, for the green, for the buff, for the window with the jack, for the hair, for the pulling back of the frizzy. I could be unkept and conkept tenderly untenderless. Maybe the weeks and torpors and having felt for the meaningless and the messiness and the awkwardness and ugly. Maybe the enviness of the birds and graceful slopes of the masculine. Or the train for resting above the street, thinking about the stumbling and how you can find yourself in every middle age and trusted within the truth and how much you can find the silver hair. Pronouncing here can misread, but you can find the mean I only began to say it. I might have been. It's getting hard to tell. It's getting hard to tell. Maybe I can put the spell, and maybe I bet you there would be an alpha. Or maybe you like the wind I dress. And maybe this is the awful empty night for minus and chiming is a bell. Here's and none answers to prayers, but never mind for the brain filled for the sound of some rodent out of town like a wind. This is unbound for the riding a shiver. Maybe the river was more of a hardening. Or maybe for the likening of something more. This is more for the reverence and sign you'll find yourself with the discussion of the Siri filled up under the metaphor or translating to yourself and your conclusion. It's getting hard to tell. Maybe I can put. It's getting hard to tell. Maybe I can. It's getting hard to tell. Maybe I can put the spell, and maybe I bet you it would be an alpha. Or maybe you like the wind I dress. Or maybe this is the awful empty night for minus and chiming is a bell. Here's and none answers to prayers, but never mind for the brain filled for the sound of some rodent out of town like a wind. This is unbound for the riding a shiver. Maybe the river was more of a hardening.
What would I call it? What new name would you bear in the world, governed by code and calculation? What program, what reveal with the ratio between the communal identities and the loss of the body? What would I call it? What new name would you bear in the world, governed by code and calculation? What program, what reveal with the ratio between the communal identities and the loss of the body? You are not known pronouns. Your nonchalance and does not convince. Your scores are neither high enough to qualify for, nor deep enough for the legible, nor detailed enough for the play form. Still even nothing can challenge to the rube and the startlement. To just find yourself at the shards of conversation with the things that shadow the savage, the embodied by the microscopic and architecture of the song for the poem, for the reading and the drawing, for the entire, for the creative, for the naked sorrow, for the sword, for the tying up at the torn. That's under for the it's not someone who cannot love you back. But ended up loving them is that the saddest and the new emotional intimacy that find the tech for the yoga, has tech for the sex and tech and has even the tech for you don't even know what a day it is for the weather or it's like for you to supposed to eat be the next and I to let you be yourself and to be found in like the water for the socks and rocks and this is what lost in the pool collecting in the ground. Speak now, speak in the long undrawn, politically of the sound for the night. This is the inheritance of war, the sight. This is the pour for the medicines and the residents and the hisperine for the heat, for the read, the road for the aching and paking it. For the baking and whisper get along for the aching of tours or something at the gate. The summer for yearning or whatever makes for you to be anti and better for the weather but absence of the beast. But yet it tells you better for all the highs and unraveling and the raveling of the summer for the little mouse and flooding of the May ear. Hair still to the stillness and vitailing the tints of the blue. The white ever the storm for the open that ear for the listening to what and spoon next to clever the apple. Trees that do food to do what and only the mysterious and retreat. The riding, the driving, and drive for the flooding of the mouth and the spelling of the Indian in every direction, unclear but swarming. Given in this and made a ear to ear for another year, for the desperate place for a hum, or a sound for the bright look of the book, for the fathers of the silence, for I can't brook, for these must now know living well. I must hire for the nickel with the unearthing descent. Weave a man made for the contrived, for the unable to forgive and deeply mind for the earthly life, for the swelling of stickly inside, for the liking of a wind drifting in west. Profane for the doors ice inside the shuffle of an opening mind. What would I call it? What new name would you bear in the world, governed by code and calculation? What program, what revealed with the ratio between the communal identities and the loss of the body? You are not known pronounce. Your announce nonchalance and does not convince. Your scores are neither high enough to qualify for, nor deep enough for the legible, nor detailed enough for the play form. Still even nothing can challenge to the rube and the startlement. To define yourself for the shards of conversation with the things that shadow the staff, so the embodied by the microscopic and architecture of the song for the poem, for the reading and the drum, for the entire, for the creative, for the naked sorrow, for the sword, for the tying up of the torn. A center for the it's not someone who cannot love you back. But ended up loving them is that the saddest and the new emotional intimacy that find a tech for the yoga, has tech for the sex and tech and has even the tech for you don't even know what a day it is, for the weather, or what it's like for you supposed to be the next and not to let you be yourself and to be found in like the water for the socks and rocks, and this is what lost in the pool collecting in the ground. Speak now, speak in the long undrawn, politically of the sound for the night. This is the inheritance of war, the sight. This is the poor for the medicines and the residents, and the hisperine for the heat, for the weed, the road for the aching and bacon, for the baking of what's whispering it along, for the aching of towards or something that's a gate. The summer for yearning or whatever makes you to be anti and better for the weather, but absence of the beast. But yet it tells you better for all the highs, the unraveling and the raveling of the summer for the little miles and flooding of the May ear. Hair still to the stillness and vitailing the tints of the blue. Wide ever the storm for the open that ear for the listening to what and spoon next to clever the apple. Trees that do food to do what and only the mysterious and retreat. The arriving, the driving, and drive for the flooding of the mouth and the spelling of the end in every direction, unclear but swarming. Giving in this and made ear to ear for another year, for the desperate place for a hum, or a sound for the bright look of a book, for the fathers of the silence, and I can't brook. For these must now know living well. I must hide for the nickel with the unearthing descent. Weave a man made for the catastrophe and unable to forgive and deeply mind for the earthly life, for the swelling and stickly inside, for the liking of a wind drifting in west. Profane for the doors ice inside the shuffle of the opening mind.
You will start to find yourself lost in the memory. Only you in that song. You will be sleeping like you're aspirin for the knocking on the sleeping door, for the sound of a rope streaking the side of a boat. Your heart hurt underwater, where the boats putting up beside each other, with it beneath your surface and rub against each other while capsize yourself, silencing you with a lost canoe. Navigating by the me and not the star map at night, for the feeling of the echoes, and it don't matter for the painting over mirrors, and don't matter. You find your way to me by the faint starlight. Stand, you feel the fleeting and now for the zero. We in praying in the wind of spinning the haywire compass, and due toward which direction we will have nothing but the grace. Falling upon heaven mercy, you can have no marble hill. I'll be your song. You could be your melody or memory. You could be the paradise lie beneath the feet of your mother in the verse. I've heard for the red side even so frequently you cannot know the scripture before you can find the meaning of the traditions and the prophet, or always be accompanied by the careful oral lineage and who said to who to who the hair here to say what to, unusually back to one of the prophets wise. Maybe it was a her that heard that said if the veil was what you want to see, you cannot. What you wish to happen, not to have ears to hear, to feel the moving slowly, you do not even know who they are. It's the paradise that lies beneath the feet of the who would find the way inside unless it admits. Maybe the looking of the face in each body, moving around for the sound for the platform, down with the change of the rounding and the trains and off them. Maybe for the burning up for the fuel for the soul, or the giving a birth or walking around the city, imagining everything glistening, and maybe the bounded by the imminent. Or maybe the writing of the body for the car, for the soul, for the driving, and actually flesh for the inseparable and only finding death and truly dispersed in the smoke. Maybe the body of maybe the white between us, maybe the who said it, but it was in the case of the something who grieving at. The death of the soul, for the wind, for the immortal, for the grieving of the age, made with the seat, for the font, for the main, for the train, for the green, for the buff, for the window with the jack, for the hair, for the pulling back of the frizzy. I could be unkept and unkept, tenderly untenderless. Maybe the weeks and tours, and having felt for the meaningless, and the messiness and the awkwardness and ugly. Maybe the enviness of the birds and graceful slopes of the masculine. Or the train for resting above the street, thinking about the stumbling and how you can find yourself in every middle age and trusted within the truth and how much you can find the silver hair. Pronouncing here can misread, but you can find the mean I only began to say it. I might have been